No, I, uh, uh, he, he wasn't ready to forgive, and he was, he was being true to himself. I hope. I mean, clearly, I don't know what was in the man's mind. Um, I, um, I, um, I, this, I want to introduce another um, dynamic into the equation, and that would be spirituality. And the reason I'm introducing spirituality is so that I can answer that question in bringing in another dynamic or another dimension. Uh, uh, First off, I'll say that if if someone were to look up the word spiritual, they'd see that spiritual is defined by the words uh, divine and supernatural. If you look up the word supernatural, it's defined by the words divine and spiritual. And if you look up the word divine, it's defined by the words spiritual and supernatural, which tells me nobody knows what spiritual means. Um, and I would also say when it comes to spirituality, if there's 6 billion or 7 billion or how many billion people on the planet, I believe there are that many definitions of spiritual. So uh, I'm going to share with you my part of my definition of spiritual. And part of what I see as spiritual is I I believe there is a forgiving God. Um, I I believe that that God um, is probably smarter than me. Now I know I'm damning God with faint praise, but I just figure God's smarter than me, and I don't see God as a condemning God, as an angry God. I see him as a loving, forgiving, merciful God. And in my own framework of spirituality, um, I believe that God has the ability to forgive both gentlemen and or to understand both gentlemen, to understand why the Jew would or could not forgive the Nazi, and to um, sit down and understand the Nazi. Uh, and um and some might frame what I just said as a complete uh, cop out. But I, in my life, I've known a lot of people who've committed suicide, and in my own heart, I just cannot believe that the same guy who put this whole thing in motion wouldn't understand what a bitch this this life is. I mean, this life is a bitch. And in that, I used to give the guys I worked with um, a business card that read, "Dear Lord, I'm awfully tired. Would you mind being God today?" And that is the way I handle my life. I ain't God. I, um, I don't know shit. And I don't, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know where I came from, and I don't know where I'm going after I die. And I'm doing my best to make it through one day at a time. And uh, uh, and I that you posed that situation with the Nazi and the Jewish man. Um, Maybe you've heard this anecdote, but there was an Auschwitz, I think it was an Auschwitz survivor, and she was asked, could she forgive the Nazis who punished her and killed her relatives? And her response was, yeah, I can. And they go, how can you do that? And she said, after I acknowledged the Nazi in me. I mean, we're all beautiful people, and we all can act like perfect assholes. We all have. We all do. We all will. And this being a human being, I it's it it's it it's a tough job. It really is. It takes all the energy we have, and I and this forgiveness thing, boy, I'm I sure am glad I found out about it, and I dug deeper and deeper and deeper into it, because it's allowed me to be, I'll put it this way, less of an asshole than I used to be. Because there ain't no way I'm going to say that I don't act like an asshole at times still. I do. I'm a human being. Uh, and I, um, oh God, I, this life's a bitch.